Hi, welcome to my channel. My channel is a storytelling channel. So if you don't like storytelling, feel free to click through. I tell stories based on my experiences, friends, people I know, people I've talked to, and throughout my lifetime, and stories I remember. It may help you, it may not. Hopefully it does. In 1976, I was 7 years old. In 1976, a new home was $48,000. You could buy a stamp for 13 cents. A gallon of milk, a gallon of gas was 59 cents. Cost of a dozen of eggs was 84 cents, and a gallon of milk was $1.65. Jimmy Carter was the president. Apple and Microsoft was incorporated. Rocky was in the theaters. And the first female president in the world had been on the throne, Isabel Perón. First space shuttle was unveiled. Not launched, y'all. Unveiled. Okay? Um, uh, Now, the first shuttle was unveiled in 1976. It didn't launch until like the 80s, I believe. Yeah, somewhere around the 80s. And let's see. Pittsburgh Steelers won the Super Bowl. Yep, it happened against Dallas. The score was 21-17. Close. But that was a year that I fell in love with Dallas. I saw them go to win 9 games and have an uproar, fail, and lose the 10th game. It devastated the team, which were considered like the marathon men at that point. But when they came back stronger and better and more humble. And I can respect that in anyone. So because I love that story as a child and watching it unfold, I love the team and respected them and always have. So Dallas is my team, if you want to know. Nadia Comaneci wins 5 medals as a gymnast, first female to be awarded the perfect 10 in that sport. And the most fascinating thing to me at the time was I had access to the South and the North in the United States. I lived in North Carolina as well as New York City. And I got to compare both lifestyles, people around me. In the South, things were very spread it out. Everybody kind of knew everybody, even though it was very spread out. Everybody had their spaces. We went from yard to yard playing kickball because it was a field. It was a field full of of room for us to make kickball fields in every field. So we get tired of playing in one field, and as kids we go play in another field. My grandparents, who lived in North Carolina, lived by a cornfield and a cotton field. So those were not things that were uncommon to me to be around. Um, in the South, like I said, things were a lot more laid back. The city vibe was a lot different. Going to Brooklyn and all the buildings and all the people, um, it had a different kind of atmosphere, more jazzy. And so, to describe to you the feeling of that time and how it helped me, or how it embedded in my mind, maybe I should describe to you a food. For example, hot dogs. I love hot dogs. Even now as an adult, I probably shouldn't, but I do. I adore a good hot dog. But I grew up in the South, and in the South, you have a hot dog, and we would play kickball as kids, and you'd smell these hot dogs in the air. We had a lady that lived down the street from us named Mother Hawkins. I'll never forget. She was a church going woman. Her and my grandparents went to church together. Anyway, everybody was on a fixed income, so everybody had something that they might have did on the side. Even old people who couldn't move, they could order candy and sell it out of their house, or order popsicles and sell them to little children. They had ways of making a little extra income. And Mother Hawkins' way was she would cook these hot dogs. And I think the hot dogs were like 50 cents. And they had mustard and ketchup, onions, slaw, and chili. And they were packaged in aluminum foil or a sort of plastic wrap so the hot dog would stay warm until you could deliver it home. I thought this was the most delicious hot dog, first of all. I can still taste them now, just thinking about them. Um, but my grandparents were on a fixed income and they're watching their grandchildren for the summer. This is 1976. There's not a lot to do. And McDonald's is the most popular um, out to eat place. But my grandparents couldn't afford to take us to places like that. That was very expensive. So a 50 cents hot dog was perfect. Absolutely perfect. Fast forward, the summer ends. I return to Brooklyn, New York. And I noticed in Brooklyn, the hot dogs now are on every corner almost. You have somebody with their cart selling hot dogs, sausages. New York, it was a lot more upstate, but a lot of them just sold hot dogs at that time. And don't get it twisted. There is nothing in this world like a Nathan's hot dog. If you haven't had a Nathan's hot dog, I don't know how I haven't had one in a long time, but I believe to this day, even the ones I buy in the store, they're amazing. And the way they cooked them at Nathan's was you could smell it throughout Coney Island. I mean, you could smell it throughout whole Coney Island. You could smell the hot dog. That was the first thing you wanted to grab and go get. But you needed nothing on this hot dog. I promise you, nothing on this hot dog but mustard. And if you got mustard, you were doing pretty good. You didn't need nothing else. But as I was saying, on the corners, I gained a lot more respect for the corner store um, vendors because they sell hot dogs throughout the week, so it's like every day you could go to a certain corner and somebody was posted up selling hot dogs. And and the thing about those hot dogs was they were roasted and you that's where I grew to learn and respect sauerkraut because the smell of the kraut coming from that steamer along with the onions and the and then they offered you the mustard. You could have regular mustard or you could have the Dijon mustard as they call it now. And I'm telling you, this hot dog stood alone and it was a buck. At that time it was about a buck. But it wasn't just the hot dog. It was the steamed bun. It was the smell that came through. It was like you were eating the hot dog before you even got to it. And that was with both experiences in the South and in the North. I'm an adult now. I've had a lot of great hot dogs. But those are the hot dogs I remember the most and the ones that I tend to crave towards. I guess because they're such a beautiful blessing in my childhood and a beautiful memory. It reminded me of my friends, the people I knew at that time, the places I got to go, the things I got to see. And it always brings back a great memory. And I think when you're remembering things, you should remember not just the good things, but the bad things. You know, that was the summer. I saw some pretty dark things in people as well. But that's another story for another day. If you like this, want to hang out with me some more, hit the like button and come back and see me. Subscribe. Thank you.